We are Anita and
Cheryl,
Cheryl and
we are all in
all in
alignment,
alignment. Mhm.
helping you create sacred spaces.
And
Yesterday,
today and every day, we
yeah,
take our topic from the Personal Paradise card deck from Tara Catherine Collins, founder of the Western School of Feng Shui,
yes,
teacher, illuminary, visionary, extraordinaire.
it was interesting. She had a post on Facebook the other day about what
Mhm.
her and her husband have done on
Oh,
property, and the forest floor was, from what I understand, not in the best shape. And over the
mm-hmm.
last year, they have taken um, uninked cardboard, brought down uh,
Mulch.
mulch on top of it, and started to reintegrate everything and building it back up. And the transition that's happened in their 1 acre property, it sounds so cool. I think that's fabulous. And in light of everything else that's going on where we're having forest fires and everything, it's like, well, maybe there's another use for cardboard that's not inked. Because of course you'd
Mm-hmm.
want the dyes and that going into the ground.
Well, very magical. Actually, cardboard is better to use than landscape fabric.
I've been using cardboard in my garden this year as rows for us to walk on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cardboard and newspaper, way better than landscape fabric. Anyways,
Anyways, cool.
side note, because
Well,
you can spend lots and lots of money on that really thick, expensive landscape fabric, and over time, anyways, because I'm pulling weeds, I
because
know.
they germinate on top.
Yes. Anyways, okay.
So came up.
What cards came up?
Well, the first one was number 14, gardens. So that's why I was laughing.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course.
Oh, and the second one is number
Uh,
25, getting organized, which is what Anita and I were working on yesterday for our Power of an
right.
Unstoppable Woman live event.
Mm-hmm.
And then this last one that came up was number 19, ceilings,
Ooh.
which, sometimes ceilings are imposed on us and we have to break those barriers
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
of what we can and
Getting
cannot do.
getting organized,
Getting
ceilings.
organized, 25, gardens, 14, and 19, ceilings. And good morning to everybody that's joining us today. Thank you for taking the time out.
Mm-hmm.
So 25, we got a 7
Okay.
there.
Mm,
14 and 19's a 2. 14, oh,
okay.
it's a 5.
Well, like you said, we were getting organized yesterday. We had our in-person meeting. We
Yeah.
are getting organized for our in-person live event in October in Red Deer, Alberta. Power of an Unstoppable Woman conference. Our lineup of speakers is amazing. And yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to go on behind the scenes, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of work. And so right now we're in that cooking stage, right? So we're grabbing all of the
Ingredients.
ingredients and we're putting them on the counter, and it's really messy. And then, we're going to put them in and we're going to make this beautiful
Yes.
recipe. And then, we're going to put all the stuff back, and then, oh, voila, we're going to have this beautiful cake or something, right?
That
And
can be
our
the
home is
the
really
garden.
like.
That can be a garden that you're creating that we're talking about too.
Well, you know what? Our home is like that.
Yeah.
There's always these little ebb and flows, these periods of chaos,
Yes.
uh, especially when you're creating something.
Hmm.
And all of those artists out there, the Kate the artist, and Dalmain, and all of you, you understand this, that, when we start doing that creation, we have to pull in all of these pieces, and sometimes it looks really chaotic. And gardening, gardening can look like that, right?
100%.
When you're going to make a new flower bed. I mean, you guys have transformed your backyard this year from what it was last year.
Yes.
Well, you have to move the rocks and the fence and the this and the dirt, and that process always looks a little bit chaotic until, right? Because you have a vision of what you want it to look like, and
Mhm.
then you start putting the pieces back together. And we can look at that in any room, any area of our home, of our life, and say, where right now do I have a little bit of chaos? And is that chaos creative, or is it maybe a little bit of stagnant
Mhm.
energy? Hmm.
Yeah, is it causing stagnation? And I think that's a great word because that actually holds true to the garden analogy as well. So if you're creating a pond or if you're creating anything that needs flow, there is a process to that creation. And if you make it so watertight and there's no circulation, stagnation can happen very quickly. The same within any environment. I consider my office one of those that's right under construction.
Hmm.
I'm not back in it yet because I'm not inspired to be in it right now.
Hmm.
I can bring back the same things that were in it before, and I want something new using what I already have. I don't want to go out and purchase a whole bunch of new stuff. I want a new feeling, a fresh feeling. So how
Mm.
can I achieve that? I have to lift the ceiling. So the ceiling in this case is my perspective. How can
Hmm.
that work? Someone else's suggestions, having Anita come over and go, well, just put that there, or hang that there, or
Mm.
shift that. And we get stuck in our own ceilings, our own limitations, our own beliefs, and it
100%.
causes that stagnation.
And again, when we look at the gardens as how this kind of plays into everything in nature, when there is, just like you were talking about Tara's,
Mm-hmm.
refurbishing their forest floor, you know, when there was, when there's no life, or when the life force energy has been sucked out of
Mm-hmm.
or away from something, then it is going to attract less than desirable or the same,
Right.
right? Going to attract the dense energy, all of that. So very similar in our home, that
Mm-hmm.
happens, right? You have that room that's become a catch-all, and nobody goes in there. And all of a sudden, all of those things that are taking up space in there have sucked the life force, the energy out of that room. And in order to revive it, to revitalize it, then you have to get organized and
However,
you have to start infusing some new life into it.
I think it's the infusion of the new life because we can organize clutter. And I'm the
Hmm.
queen of organizing, and I can organize clutter. But what
Yep.
one of the words or one of the phrases that Anita and I utilize or have you ask yourself is, do I love it? Because if that binder of information is no longer serving a purpose in your life, and I'm talking to myself right now, why don't
Hmm.
you just let it go?
Hmm.
Only one
And
choosing to hold on to it. So let it go,
and,
for goodness
and
sakes.
yes, because is it imposing a self-limiting ceiling by holding on to that thing?
Of course it is, because those are the old ways of doing things. So how about letting it go, Cheryl? Cheryl?
How about planting a new seed and letting something else grow,
Grow.
right? Letting
Exactly.
it grow.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly.
That's
So
all. it's all about gardens, letting it grow, planting those new seeds.
100%.
And we are going to be in that harvest season pretty soon too. And there's, again, an opportunity to take that garden, right? Metaphorically, the garden of your life, let's
Mm-hmm.
say, what has already been harvested. And we can take that again back to that getting organized. What has already served its purpose, given you, bountiful joy, pleasure, fruit, whatever. But like you said, that no longer
Yeah.
serves you,
It's no
right?
longer serving a purpose that's helpful,
Hmm.
right? The purpose it's
And then
serving
you
is
can
taking up
you can
space.
send it off to mulch or or the recycle or
Mhm.
whatever, right?
Or
Because
to someone else.
there's always that process that of returning to and becoming in a different form.
Hmm.
Um, something can we can have something that's useful as this, and we can turn it into this.
Exactly.
Nature shows us that all the time. Hmm.
100%. And, different teachers come into our lives at different times. And Anita and I have been working together in business for a few years now, and we have gone through this cycle already. And it's only been a few years that we've been together of, well, who is your audience? Well, now make that a niche. And now we have a new teacher that says, everybody.
Hmm.
It's already come through this ebb and flow already. So we have to decide what works for us in the end, in all of it. Is that
Hmm.
what we want? Do we love that aspect of this? Do we want to shift that aspect of this? And we're getting other people's perspectives, which is fabulous,
Yep.
but those are their perspectives. And stepping back and using our own discernment and our own feelings and our
Mhm.
own goals and our own values, not based on someone else's teachings, because that's their perspective.
Well, and that is, I mean, the cards, obviously, right? So the ceiling,
Yeah.
because of, like you said, our previous coaching,
Hmm.
we had a limitation
Yes.
on who our audience was, who our ideal client. We had placed that person in a box and say they have to look like this, they have to think like this,
Hmm.
they want this, all of those things. And now our ceiling, our personal and business ceiling has been, lifted. So now the box is bigger.
Yes.
And we're like, oh,
Oh,
that's interesting. Yeah. So anyways, it's cool, and it's all a process.
it is a process. The other
Mhm.
night we had Michelle Karen, quantum astrologer, on
Oh,
our
yes.
virtual stage. So, not to get confused with the live Power of an Unstoppable Woman event. Every
Hmm.
2 weeks, Anita and I host a virtual stage where we get to highlight some incredible women. And on Tuesday night, we had Michelle Karen. Well, let me tell you, when it comes to astrology, this woman is the bomb. And
Yep.
she dropped a few of them.
Yep.
She gave us information on the rest of 2024 and into 2025. And holy smokes, as Anita said, when the stars align, there's going to be some interesting ceiling shifts
Uh-huh.
in the next year
And a bit,
and a
and a
bit.
and a bit,
But
and a more.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's nature, that's humanity, that's
Hmm.
universal. We're always shifting, we're always changing, and people hate that word change, but hello, that's the only thing that is consistent
That's
is
right.
change. It's going to
Hmm.
happen whether it's dragging you, screaming and kicking, or you can just go, okay, time to change. Let's go with the flow. Even the rivers change their flow. The water changes its flow. The magnetic grid of the earth is changing, for goodness sake, people. So
Hmm.
don't think you can buck change. It's going to happen.
It's 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 always, yeah, I mean, that's nature. And again, go back to the garden, right? There's
Hmm.
so many analogies that you can use for
With the
garden.
garden.
And I'd love, we've got some people joining us this morning. I'd love for some comments of how, are you feeling that you need to get organized, right? Is there some area of your life that you have placed a self-imposed ceiling? Or maybe it's the ceiling in your home. And
Hmm.
again, you know, no different than your aha moment, Cheryl, that you had with the mirrors hanging in your home
Exactly.
and how your husband Rod was feeling cut off and all of that. Um, if physically in your home, if you have a low ceiling, right? And it may be a bedroom, it may be a small space that, maybe it's under the stairs, or maybe it's a basement. I know some older homes, the basements, the ceilings are lower.
Hmm.
Just think about how do you feel in that space, just sit there. And when that ceiling is lower, it kind of weighs on you. It feels heavy,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And then when the ceiling in a room is too high, you go, and we've been in many homes
Yes.
where there's a 20-foot ceiling in the foyer. It's this grandiose entryway. And all of a sudden, you don't feel, you
Safe.
don't feel grounded at all.
Yeah.
You feel a little bit out of your body in a sense, right? So physical ceilings in your home have an effect on you, just like those mental ceilings that we place, right? So they have the ability to, kind of be like a vice and, put down pressure,
Hmm.
or they can be
Raise it up.
uplifting.
Hmm.
So, and again, it's goes back to that, the three little pigs. It's got to be just perfect, right?
Oh, the
You
bears.
know, I have that perfect, or not three little pigs,
Goldilocks and the three
Goldilocks. There
Goldilocks
you
and the
go.
three
I had
bears.
the wrong story. Yeah, the Goldilocks. Yeah, we're gonna be like Goldilocks.
Too hot,
Uh,
too cold, just right.
that's the one.
Very much a Goldilocks and three bears society. Very much. And
That's what we need.
good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's another analogy, it's another story. We're going to
Hmm.
feel just right in different situations, in different spaces.
But it is also about paying attention, right?
Yes.
Paying attention to how you do feel out in the garden, how you feel in your home, in a certain room with the ceiling. How do
Hmm.
you feel when you have a space or an area that needs to get organized,
Yes.
right? Pay attention to how you feel. And if you don't like that feeling, then how can I shift this in order to have the feeling that I want? But I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's what feng shui is all about. It's
100%.
about doing what makes you feel good, that relaxes the nervous system, that makes you take that deep breath, feel
Mm.
calm, and voila, now you're in
And
the flow.
voila. Voila. I love it. Are you getting any
Voila.
comments in the chat there, my friend?
No, nobody wants to comment this morning. They're all quiet.
That's okay. They're
They're enjoying the
contemplating.
coolness,
Yeah,
maybe.
depending upon where they're from.
Mhm.
I want to go back to the gardens for a second. It was interesting that this spring, when my husband said, let's make the whole back bed a vegetable garden, I was very resistant because
Mhm.
I like the way things were before.
Aha.
Aha. However, now that the work is done and the vegetables are thriving, I'm blown away.
Mhm.
I'm blown away at the shift in the way the backyard feels energetically. And we have a built-in tomato ripening expert in our home. His name is Table. And it's interesting where your animals, and I know we talked about animals last week, and he loves vegetables. So I actually plant vegetables specifically for Teo to keep him away from
Mhm.
other vegetables. It's kind of like companion planting. Except it's not an insect I'm keeping away, it's a dog. But he was outside at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning the one night, and he was coming trucking down the sidewalk, and he stopped and he backed up and he stuck his head in between the fence because he could smell tomatoes ripening.
Tomatoes. Mm-hmm.
So sure enough, I go out the next morning and I look, and oh yeah, there's ripening tomatoes on the vine. He's our indicator. So
Yep.
your animals, when we were talking about the good energy in the garden or whatever in the house,
Yep.
knows when things are ripe. It's quite entertaining. But getting back to in that transition into making the cake, into creating something, whatever it is, that chaos that's going on about it, we know and we expect that chaos. An artist expects that there's going to be chaos. Someone who is creating or baking a cake is going expecting that chaos. The difference in our homes is the chaos builds and it's
Mm-hmm.
not expected. And then we find ourselves in the middle of something that's not serving us. The ceiling and the opportunity at this point is for you to realize or become aware, as Anita said, what rooms are you avoiding? What space in your home you don't feel great in? Those are your indicators that the
Mm-hmm.
chaos has gotten maybe a little out of control, the energy may be a little bit stagnant, etc., etc., etc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, what do we got for numbers? Because we're almost
I
at
know,
the
at the
top of
top of
the
the hour
hour
again.
already. Wow.
I know. I get that
Mm-mm.
we have a number 5.
Oh, I
What do you
thought we had, let's see, yeah, maybe I'm not very good at adding up today. We have a 7, a
Oh,
10, and a 5.
I put 2 instead of 10.
Yeah, 22. We have a 22.
No,
We have a master number.
we have a
Mm.
25, which is 7,
Yep,
14, which is 5,
yep,
19, which is a 10.
right.
I wrote down 1 and 9 is 20.
Hmm.
So 13,
No, 22.
22. Oh God. Okay, it's a good thing one of us isn't dealing with numbers today and the other one is.
It's a 22 day.
Foundational day. Wow, 22. Okay, well, we're going to go straight to the 2-2. And of course, Marilyn and Joy, Adironda, double digitology, my reference. The 22 takes all of the energy of cooperation, of being supported, responsive, and adaptable to their environment, and
Mm,
magnifies it to create what we know as the master builder. Yes, the 22 is the definitive master builder. They have a strong foundation and are looking forward to the future. This is
ah,
the energy of seeing from great heights. No pun intended with the ceilings. A high
oh,
perspective. All of the elements needed for the foundation to be built. Okay, really? Like we're talking about building gardens and creating spaces and ceilings. That is
mhm,
so funny. It helps you build your way through a strong foundation.
mhm.
Like, hello, it floors me. It floors me how these numbers and these topics always coincide, always go with what's going on, and go back
100%.
for energy, Anita. Yesterday, we were literally in the chaos of building and creating the foundation with landing pages and websites and marketing and getting all the speakers in place. Did you know we have 13 speakers lined up for you for Power of an Unstoppable Woman live event?
Hmm.
OMG.
Well, they're not. they're not speakers, they're presenters
Mentors.
because they all are going to be
Yes.
presenting not only a story or a new awareness, but they're all
Concept.
going to be taking every person through some kind of a process. Uh, and those processes end up being new tools that you can, put over here and over there. And there's going to be some holy shifts happening. Oh,
Yeah.
anyways, yeah.
So if you haven't got your ticket yet, get your ticket. You're not
Mhm.